I'm live, but I'm not ready yet. Somehow I've screwed up my tripod. Okay. Wonder if my YouTube announcements aren't going out again. Well, I was just saying I didn't think there was anyone here. What's up? Nothing. So I have spent the entire day sharpening. It's been a busy day. I had some unique stuff. Now I'm gonna have some scotch. So I got to sharpen some. Actually, I got to sharpen some unique stuff today. I've had a bunch of ADVs come in, but I'd never seen one of these. One of these ADV Beast 2017-11. It's called the Freak. It's Tonto. It had a significant misgrind. Not gonna lie to you, but it is gorgeous now. It is gorgeous. Cool. Yeah, you sent. I saw you sent it. So Debbie K just told me you sent out some knives. Big E, what's going on, Mike? Just finished some sharpening here a little bit ago. I'm waiting on the postman. I've got more stuff coming. You guys kept me pretty busy. I had a pretty busy day today. I had a couple knives that needed some special attention, and then I got into these ones from Jose. I got an ADV. I got a Chavez that I've got to do some. Yeah, I'm still worn out, tired. Yeah, I am feeling better though. I had a Chavez 228 come in. That is now ridiculous sharp and will get a green pocket clip probably tomorrow. It's going to be a green, orange peeled pocket clip. So we're going to see how that looks out. What kind of scotch? So I always wanted one of these. It was kind of a grail knife until the first time I actually got to hold one. And I was like, kind of disappointed. It's just a little bit too much. Finished sharpening my daughter's knife, the Scorpion. It is ridiculous sharp. Denmark checking in. I haven't seen either of my Swede followers, but this is the one. This is the one that was unique, and I can't remember that. I apologize, I can't remember the name. It's Kirby something. This one is a very unique blade design, and it got this makes you random. What music do you listen to? Wyatt, I listen to everything. I look like I should be listening to fucking. I look like I should be a trucker on a long haul trucking route, like my grandfather was, listening to country music and Mel Tillis and things like that. But I listen to everything because I'll tell you a story. Because I'm done sharpening. I was thinking about having you guys along when I was sharpening, but I just wasn't in the greatest of moods earlier. I had some shitty stuff I was dealing with, personal stuff, and then what's up, Brian? And then I got to sharpening, and I just decided I wanted to watch a couple movies today while I was sharpening. So I took my time at it. I only did about 7 knives today. Yeah, about seven knives today. A couple of them were reprofiles. That AVD got reprofiled completely because it looked fine until I put it on stones, and then it was bad. But I did it in a manner that I tried to save Jose some money. And then I decided I'm gonna have some scotch out here. I watched well, I watched Poltergeist, and I watched the end of. Oh, I watched Poltergeist, and then I watched the rest of the Grand Tour, the end of the season of the Grand Tour, with the guys from Top Gear. At any rate, so this knife came out. I mean, it came out really nice, and it's such a unique design. But I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a very. It was a very difficult knife to sharpen because it is a unique shape, even more so than my 601, my WE 601. But once it got sharp, Holy crap, is it sharp. Oh, giveaway. That was the whole point of this to start. Was to talk about a giveaway. Now I have two of these. One of them is the one you saw that's orange, handled with the silver blade. It no longer is orange. The handle is no longer orange, and the blade is no longer silver. The blade is black, and now it has a gold pocket clip. It is an axis lock version. This one is the auto pin lock version. Button lock, pin lock, whatever you want to call it. And I have not decided this. I was going to think about doing a giveaway, but I don't know, with it being an automatic, I don't know about that. So the other one is coming up, and I'm going to do the giveaway, and there'll be an actual giveaway announcement. But I wanted to see, the whole point of this was, some of you guys that are on here, how do you think I should do it? Do you want to do it with the same way I did it before, which it is, you have to ask a question, and then I'll sit down and answer the, yeah, don't tell anybody, don't show anybody that stuff. I sent that to you because we just happened to be talking when I sent those pictures. Actually, it was not intentional. I mixed you up in a text stream with someone else. It's the same shape, it's the same design knife. It's smaller, it's a little bit smaller, and it is a axis lock. Gonzo, at any rate. That's the knife I'm going to be giving away. It looks really cool now that it's been changed. It's black, gold. It's just black and gold. Well, it's carbon fiber and gold. It's basically, it's a polished pocket clip that I coated with yellow ceramic. So, but the thing I wanted to know is, how do you think I should do the giveaway? The last time I did the giveaway, it was question and answer. Everybody had 2 days to write in and answer a question. I wrote down how many people. And gave everybody a number, and then just picked a number at random. I'm cool with doing that, or do we want to do it a different way? You know, I mean, any way you look at it, comments, I could do the question and answer thing again. That doesn't bother me. I just want to see how you guys want to proceed on that. Hopefully the mailman gets here. I want to take a shower. I've been sweating. It was warm today for part of the day. But anyway, so it's basically the same design knife. And there. No, I don't want to do that one. It would just basically be a hey, comment, and you get entered, and then I would have to just, all the comments, go through and write them. I think I had 64.5 people the last time. But I'm willing to do the full question and answer like I did last time. It was just, I have to do it on like a weekend. That brings up another thing. So these knives that I just showed you, they're Jose's knives. The Chavez, the Kirby, whatever it is, the ADV. And his knives are sharp. I've sharpened them all. They're all done. But he wants something re-anodized. Now, I'm going to go tomorrow, and I'm probably going to do the anodizing on it. But I'm kind of wanting to think that I'm going to start doing that stuff on weekends. And on weekends, it's not a Kirby Lambert. I can't remember what it is. The full question and answer. You ask a question, and then I videotape me answering the question. So you ask a question in the comments section, and then I answer it when I make the video. And I'll say who asked. So this question is from da-da-da, and then I'll answer the question. And each one of those people that asks a question, as long as it's not, I will disqualify you if it's something obnoxious and stupid and something I don't want to read on, you know, I'll disqualify you. But so basically, I mean, prefer to do it knife related, but as long as, like I said, as long as it's not, you guys want to know how many moles I have on my wiener, you know. So anyway, those three knives, that Chavez, he wants the pocket clip green. I'm going to do an orange peel and green on it. There's a good chance that from now on, if you guys send me knives, I'm going to charge you the price for the sharpening after I finish the sharpening and the modification, the refinishing, but I'm not going to be able to do the refinishing till that weekend because I can't use a lot of the equipment in the shop all the time. Like I can't bogart. I mean, it's their equipment, and if I'm using their equipment. They can't use their equipment. You know what I mean? It's just polite shop etiquette. You know what I mean? It's their shop. So the caveat to that is most of the time they're not there on weekends. And I can go in and I can do stuff on weekends that I can't necessarily do during the week, or not necessarily want to stay there till late at night on a fucking Tuesday. But to expedite it so that I can ship it first thing on Monday and not have to worry about, oh, I didn't get a hold of this guy, he didn't send me the money, or I couldn't get a hold of him on weekend. When I finish sharpening the knives, then I charge the full price, including the price of the refinishing. You pay it, and then as soon as I do it that weekend, I put it in a box so it's ready to go Monday. I don't have that kind of money. Time to get my own shop. You know how much it would cost to have a shop here in San Diego for me? I can't even afford the equipment to do what I'm doing. So that's the giveaway, and that's the little thing like that. The other thing, I don't know if you guys saw it on my Instagram. This is an Osborne Design Benchmade 440. Now, I pulled this out of the box. Do you have a rough time normally to do live streams? No, do I have a rough time? I normally do I don't. I do streams when it strikes my fancy. But the thing is, David, my streams go up. Now, I don't answer all the questions, so let's see here. Bob Schneider said totally reasonable. David, you just asked, do I have a rough time? I do my live stream. I do not. I do them when they strike my fancy. I've been out here all day. I'm waiting on the postman. I really don't have anything I can really work on right now. So I thought, hey, I'd do a live stream and have a glass of scotch. I may have more work coming. But it's not a day that, like, Mondays I try not to go up to the shop anymore because I know if I go up there, I'll be there till fucking 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And my daughter skates in the morning on Mondays, which means that she's going to be home in the afternoon. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, she didn't get home until like 7, 7:30 because she's on the ice. But at any rate, when I was back talking about this, so this is an Osborne Design. It is the Benchmade 440. It doesn't have a pocket clip. It's kind of a gentleman's folder with a twist. It's got a thumb stud. It's got a pretty good detent. I took it apart. I cleaned up the internals and stuff. And this is a Benchmade. Again, a Benchmade I like, especially now that I took it apart and I addressed some of the issues. Had some blade play. Had a little bit of a wobble to it. So I took care of that when I cleaned it up. Oop, I missed the thumb stud. But this is one I like, but not enough. I'm gonna keep it. I just don't have room for it. I've carried it a few times. It fits. I'll tell you what, it fits great. So if you're wearing jeans, which I'm currently not, this will go down right inside. Some people call it a coin pocket. It's your watch pocket. This sits right down inside that. Like at an angle, you can't even see it. You sit down, can't feel it. It is a nice little knife, but I'm gonna sell it. These were rare. I found out that these are rare. Like you look them up, it says rare, Benchmade, Osborne, 440. It's like, really? It's extremely light. It's all aluminum and wood handles. It runs on washers. And I am going to sell it. I'm going to sell this for a rate at 150 is what I put it up on my Instagram at. Because the ones that I've seen have been around 200 to, 180 to 200. And my friend Bill is he's a Benchmade fan. He's got a ton of them. And he was like, I heard of it, but I've never even seen one. So they didn't make them very long and on. I have another one. It's the Benchmite. It's a tiny little McHenry Williams. I'm thinking about keeping that one and giving it to my wife because it's a nice little knife. But this one is for sale. But, so there's that. What else were we going to talk about? Talk about the giveaway. Talked about those knives. You guys have been keeping me busy, but I want to put it out there right now. Don't ever, any anodizing that I've put up is on my Instagram channel. Richard Parker asked, do I post any of it anywhere? It's on my Instagram channel. Don't ever think like, oh, I got to get a hold of Mike and find out if I can send knives in. You can always send knives in because the longer you wait to get them to me, I don't know what next week's going to look like. So the sooner, if you've got something you want to send to me, and you want to get you want to know what the price structure looks like, I'll text it to you, I'll email it to you. But the longer you wait, the more chance that, like today, I think I've got 3 packages showing up. So it's the luck of the draw. But even with being busier, I'm still keeping up a pretty good turnover. Turnaround times are still just a couple days before they wind up on the bench and then out the door. Like I said, unless you're asking for something specific, like I have a guy that wants a finger choil cut into a Reat that I'm going to do for him. I didn't do a finger choil. I did a sharpening. Well, let's go. We'll grab it. Let's go in the house and we'll go grab it. So my Reat has got a bit of a different blade profile than it did when I first bought it, because the sharpening notch was just not quite deep enough. Or not deep, not necessarily deep enough, but large enough to keep me from getting that ramped area, because the blade thickened. So to rectify that, can't do it in here in the bedroom, it's too dark. I put it on a small wheel, like a 1/4 inch wheel, and used a 220 grit belt, and I just, yes, Instagram. It's my cousin. Hey, Jake. I've done some stuff, Jake. Bought a couple knives from me. There we go. But what I did on mine was I just opened it up just a little bit, not real big. I just took it out because the old sharpening notch ended here, and as you can see, the material gets thick. And so you just wound up with a little ramp where it comes up. And aesthetically, I didn't like it. And it was easier to sharpen this way. So I just cut a notch in it. Now, I don't consider that pimping or modify knife. That's just, I do it on Spyderco's with 2 files and do a small sharpening notch. I just opened the notch up on this one almost to a choil. And it came out really nice. And it made it a lot easier to sharpen that way. Oh, something else. I gotta get a hold of Ken. I have not talked to Ken in a while. So Ken is the guy that I talked to about. Remember I told you guys about Raging Jap knives, and he sent me their RJ5. I've carried this. I've actually had to resharpen it. It is one of the few knives, because I don't need a finger choil on that. This knife. Okay, so Thomas said, why didn't I go with the full choil? Because this knife, I'm not going to get up on it like this. I'm going to just, it's got a big enough handle and a big enough choil there, and it's comfortable enough at that I don't need to get my finger forward of the flipper tab. This knife, I thought about it and I was like, I'm not going to use it. As opposed to some of my other knives that I definitely would use it. This knife has a decent sharpening notch. I may open it up a little bit because this is what I was talking about. See how it's got that little ramped area there? But these, I'm not gonna lie, people are like, oh, VG10 and it's steel frame lock and they're charging too much. This is a really well built knife. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have carried this a lot. I did anodize my pocket clip. Steel frame lock with G10. I honestly carry this knife a lot. I think Charles Anderson, a follower in Sweden, I think he bought 2 or 3 of these. But they sent me this one. I think I still am the only YouTube review of this knife on the internet, and it's still a knife that gets a lot of pocket time. It's ground really well. That's the thing. It's ground really well and it cuts really well. So it gets a lot of time in my pocket because it cuts so well. Because you can see, it's got a hollow grind on both sides. And then I just sharpen it. No. I have not re-oiled it, but it usually is smooth enough. Let's put a drop of oil on it. I had it apart, cleaned it up because I sharpened it. It runs on washers. So, sadistically sharp. Hello. No, it's not. I have not announced the giveaway yet. The giveaway is coming. It's just the, I was just talking about trying to figure out how we want, yeah. Yes, nano oil. Are there circumstances that I do not, what was that again? So are there circumstances, do you still do a convex edge on it? I do a convex on everything. Are there circumstances would you not do a convex? Yes, if somebody pays me the extra price to use the fixture and do a specific angle. Have you ever thought of using a CBN emulsion on strops? CBN? You mean like from THC? Why? Like from weed? Use that shit on my muscles. That's what I'd use. If I could put it in a cream with CBD and put it on my fucking backache. I do. I have a CBD cream that a friend of mine. No, that's CBD. There is also CBN. CBN is another component in marijuana. You have THC, CBD, CBN. So Brad, I was not different CBN. Thoughts on using black translucent arcs? Oh, black translucent Ozarks. You can use those. They are they're pretty good. They're really fine, and they don't break down. Cubic boron nitrate said to be about as hard as diamonds. I've seen some other stuff. I have not been able to find Wyatt, I have not been able to find the spray that I like, the Handmade American, the 10 karat, and I am almost out of the 1 micron. Well, an ice cube is like a splash of water. And my whiskey stones are not in the refrigerator, or I would have used my soapstone whiskey stones. But I put some very small ice cubes in a glass, and it's my fucking scotch. If you don't like it, tune into a different show. I might look into it, because I've got to replace my 1 micron strop, the balsa wood block strop. I've got to replace that, and I need to make sure I've got something that I can use as a stropping compound. I'm not a bourbon guy, so McGear Bear, yeah, I put a lot of whiskey in it. I don't fuck around when it comes to drinking. I was a sailor. Our song that we used to sing was a drinking song. It was a beer drinking song. So we talked about the giveaway. We talked about that. Let's see, what have you guys got going on here? Bark River white compound. I don't like the white compounds. I don't like most of the compounds. I like this one. I use this one. This is really hard. This is supposed to be for a buffing wheel. It's not the soft stuff. It's not a strop compound. This is a buffing compound. It comes in a 1 pound block, and as you can see, I broke half of it off and gave it to a friend. I still have this piece, and I've used a lot of it, but I don't like a lot of the soft oil-based strop compounds. I don't think they do as good a job as I would like. So let me see. What else was I going to talk about? We talked about that. We talked about the RJ5. I don't like Macallan. I know that sounds horrible, but I'm not a big Macallan fan. I'm a huge American Rye fan. There we go. See, a little bit of oil, and now it's I like Bullet Rye. Fuck, I love that shit. I'm not much of a Macallan fan. I hate to admit it. I hate to make myself out like a fucking pariah. But not big on the Macallans. Sorry guys, I'm trying to move some stuff around. I'm clean some of this up. No way. Try Master Stunts Bar Combs. I like the Diamond Spray. I only have one thing that I would even put a strop compound on, like a bar like that, and that's my leather strop down there. And it does not get utilized very often. VG10 gets it, and depending on which company's S35VN, it's driving me nuts. Get my blowgun out. Depending on which company's S35VN, S35VN may get it as well. But usually, it just sits down here, getting dirty. Oh, that stinks. That water's been underneath that for a while. Stop apologizing. What? Try Bastard Straps. Yeah, like what she likes. Something called the Nano Cloth. Okay, I'm listening. Wait. No, there's... Okay, I probably should have relabeled. I'm asking questions on how we were going to do the giveaway. So Wyatt, you said something. Sorry about that. There's something called Nano Cloth. I've heard that it's incredible, kind of pricey. Is your stone... Is your 12,000 stone better than your strop? No, I still use the strops after, because 12,000 grit is not as high as what I've got on my strops. My strops go all the way down to 60,000 grit. So it's nano cloth or nano oil, Benny? Because there's some people, I have talked to a couple people that do not like the nano oil, and I don't. Like the... Oh, so you're talking about nano cloth. Okay. Got some bite to it. That's inlay. What are we talking about? Inlays. With the Chris Reeves, the inlays look awesome, but I don't think that they... I think that the way they charge for it doesn't equate to how much nicer they make it. I mean, you basically have the same knife. It's just got, it's not really even an inlay. It's an onlay, and they use some high-speed load drag adhesive, but it's not like this one. It's screwed on. That onlay is, and you have to take that off, take the knife apart. No. It was designed for the weapons industry. You cannot... Okay, so it was designed for the government for use in weapons, and it has gotten several contracts for the government with nano oil. It's an armament oil. It's for used on weapons. And if you know anything about the government weapons, which I do because that was my entire job while I was in the military, there is no way that you could put anything that would cause corrosion on weapons. Nope, there's no way. It's a lubricant and protectant, and it's a CLP, a cleaning lubricant protectant. If you get down to the 5 weight, it's CLP weight, and it's used for that purpose. So, yeah, I know. I'm just saying there's. But that's the thing about rumors, that fucking somebody said, oh, my knife corroded because it had nano oil on it. No, your knife corroded because you put nano oil on it and expected it to hold up to fucking salt water and shit. It still can get into the surface of the steel. So that you guys know. What's up, man? High speed low drag me. It's a military thing because everybody wants high speed, low drag. Low drag equates to aerodynamics, so it's a military thing that everybody says, and it just means the coolest, newest shit. So that's what somebody was asking. What's high speed, low drag mean? Just ordered Camila oil for all my knives, rust and bearings. Any experience? I have never heard of it. Well, hello. First time catching me live. Yeah, I got an M4 Manix and it rusted. Vinegar works. M4 will rust. Not put vinegar. Trust me, I have a fucking 400-year-old Japanese samurai sword in the house. I have 3 swords that I had built for taking Japanese martial arts, and they do not use vinegar on their blades at all. What they use is a powder called unchi oil, or they use unchi oil and a unchi powder. I'm sorry, unchi powder and choji oil. So unchi powder is a powder that you put on that is powdered sharpening stone. It's powdered. The compound that they use is a powder that is choji oil. Choji oil is made from clove oil. It's expensive, Ken. It's I used that TW25 Bravo. I'll see if I have a small rifle luber somewhere, rifle grease tube that you could put in, but you have to make sure you keep shaking it or it'll separate. But you can basically wipe that stuff off and use almost anything. It's a really good rust inhibitor, but it's another armament weapons oil that was designed. So clove oil. Yeah, but choji oil is clove oil. I've never had D2 rust. I'm okay. This is where Vinny always tells me that fucking S30 won't chip, S30V won't chip, and I'm here to tell you I've never had D2 rust. And I use water stones, and I'm like, water stones have a tendency to then immediately rust because they're a lot of the stones that I have are natural stones, sandstone, limestone. You know, it depends on what they're made out of and the natural stones. And so when you add the water and the steel, it starts to rust. And I've never had D2 do that. M4. Okay, so somebody actually asked a question. Hey, Mike, just me, or does the M4 kind if versus a toothy edge? So M4, I did a blade, I did a spider coat M4 the other day, and I only took it to about 2,000 grit and then hit it on my straps. Now it polished up, it looked gorgeous, but it was toothy and it was much better. I had went up to 8,000 and I'm like, nope, I got to go back down. I went back down to 2,000 because I went from 8 to 5 stropped, and I was like, nope. And from 5 back down to 3,000. And once I got it back down to 3,000, like, oh, there we go. Put it back on a strap, polished it. I'm like, that's where M4 needs to be. It's right about. It felt better at 4,000, or I'm sorry, 3,000 grit than it did at 5 and 8. This one I only took. This one only went to 1,000. Because it's VG10. Why are we talking about dash channels? It's not always true. 20CV and M390 do really well all the way up to 10 and 12,000 grit. I wonder if new to knives, wondering what kind of edge D2 would hold longer. It depends on your personal preference. The knife, my Ontario Rat 1 is at about, I think it's at about 3,000 grit. The same as my D2, I usually leave it about 3,000 grit and then strop it real good. You still have a toothy edge that's polished. My 3,000 grit stone leaves a really, really good finish. But yeah, D2, it's not so much like aesthetically, it didn't feel like it got any, it didn't feel like it didn't want to take an edge past that. It just, D2 like VG10, a lot of times you get past 2,000 and 3,000 grit, it looks cloudy. It goes from polished to cloudy, and I don't know what is going on with the steel because I'm not a metallurgist, but you know, this is 2,000, 3,000 grit. Mike, do you go from 6,000 to 2,000, 3,000? No, I go from 600 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 to 8,000, 10,000, and 12,000. Does that make sense? How much would you charge to sharpen a wee knife with a zero grind? This shit is taking forever. Okay, so that's a question. Zero grind. So, Jeremy, does it already have a zero grind and you just can't do it? Or is it something you're wanting to make a zero grind? Because that's a completely different animal. Uh-oh, I broke them. So much I've sharpened lately, Mike. I have to get the Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Heard a different thing. No, okay. So what you're talking about is that I went from 600 to 2,000 at Elliott's on my neck knives, which yes, I do go from 600 to 2,000 on my neck knives at the shop because there is no, they have sandpaper that goes 320, 400, 600, 2,000. And I mean, it comes out and it's got a really good polish, especially I use my final 2 sheets, the 600, and then I go and I wet the 600 and I go over it again and then I wet sand it on 2,000. They come out with a really, really, really polished edge and they're sharp. Already has, I'm on hour 7 and it's the first stone, stick near the tip using a KM8. Russell, I'm not gonna lie to you, if you send it to me, Russell, if you send it to me, here's what I'll do for you. Here we go. Let's see. Already on hour 7 and still on the first stone. Too thick near the tip using a KME. Okay. So, Russell, yeah, the higher you polish. So, Russell, but I'll go back to, so, Lock 2517. I will get to you what you just said in a moment. So Jeremy, if you send me that knife, worst case scenario, I'll tell you that I can't do it, and I'll take a look at it, and the worst case scenario, we're out like shipping. If it's something that I can do, I can tell you that I've never had a knife. I had a razor come in that the only reason I didn't do it was because I knew it would cost more than a razor was worth. So if you send it to me, get with me. My phone number is at the beginning of most of my videos. It'll be in the comments. It's on most of my videos. There's my business card shows up on the thing. And if you go to my Instagram, it's in my profile. Send me some pictures. I'll look at it and then I will let you know. Zero grinds is it's hit and miss. I don't want to tell you that I definitely can do it and then have it. So that's the thing. Like if you send it to me and it looks like I can't do it, worst case scenario, you're out $7 shipping. I'll ship it back to you. Because, you know, I would much rather be able to do that than have somebody ruin a good knife. You know what? Somebody that's trying and just working. So somebody said something, HAP 60. Okay. So Lock 17 about getting a cloudy look, develop a model look, depending on the elemental composition. Steels with higher chromium, niobium typically take a really nice polish. Okay, so what you're talking about, I have noticed. I have a knife that I polished the fuck out of, and it's in 20 CV, and it has almost got a Woot Steel Damascus style pattern to it, and I love it. It's cool. It does it sometimes, and it's something that is done in that crucible powdered steel, and it looks cool as fuck. My daughter's knife, as a matter of fact, here, I'll show you. I did the heat treat on this knife myself, and there's a spot in it, and it still has a rough grind, but if you looked at it, you're like, wow, that has this little almost microstructure. Exactly, you're like, wow, I can really see the structure of the steel in this, and you're not gonna be able to see it. It's may as well just not do it. But this is 440, 440C. The actual giveaway announcement will be, the actual giveaway announcement made. I was trying to find out how people wanted to do the giveaway, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it the way I did the last one. But at any rate, what were we talking about? So I lost that one. Pardon me. Excuse me. So Vinny, HAP 40 or 60, or you have talking about HAP 40? So Vinny, you said HAP 60, and I don't know. I don't know where we're at with this. How do you enter the giveaway? There will be a giveaway announcement. This is not the actual giveaway. Yes, when you publish. N690, VG10, they're almost the same, yes. Yeah, so almost like the crystalline structure starts to show when you get to a certain polish point on certain steels. VG10, Jesus. VG10 N690 doesn't do it as badly because it's a different, it's the same kind of composition, but no, Scandy's a Scandy, a zero's a zero. Okay. Come on, kid. A zero is a lot like a flat that goes all the way from the spine to the apex, as opposed to going from a point on the spine like right around in here and then all the way down to, and then having a secondary bevel. So a zero goes all the way down from the origin of the bevel like a Scandi, only usually a zero goes all the way from the spine down like a flat. What a Scandi is it's more like a saber that is ground all the way from a certain point down to apex. Well, let's go. We gotta go back inside. Now we're gonna do. No, an Opnel's a flat. So it just so happens that I have example of each: a zero and a Scandi, and an Opnel, which is just a full flat. But they're two different grinds. So maybe I can illustrate this. There's my Opnel. There's my Scandi grind. Where's my small little... Oh, dear. Yeah, it does. Comes with it. Matter of fact, you can see it right there. I didn't put that on there. So, trying to find my zero grind. Have a small cold steel neck knife that has a zero grind on it. And we can, there's my browse. Oh dear. Well, that's not it. Hang on a second, guys. I'm working on it. Here, you can help me. I'm looking for a small cold steel Scottish spike. It's probably under my nunchucks. There it is. With this whole drawer full of knives. There we go. Well, then you have, let's turn on the, I don't need the red light on. You got my shotgun and all my handguns and, you know, 3 handguns there. There's one in the garage and a small safe in the garage. And, all right, let's. That door you kicked? That door you just kicked open? Yes, it's 44 Magnum. I had a sign that I was made to take down, and it said that door, this door you're about to kick open, is for your protection, not for mine. And my HOA made me take it down because it seemed unpleasant and rude and mean. I was like, yeah, that's the whole fucking point. I was a marksmanship instructor and a crew serve weapon machine gun and machine gunnery instructor. Okay, so do a little class here. So, damn it, I don't have a saber grind out here. But, and anyway, so this is a Scandi. It goes from that point on that blade all the way down. Now, the thing about a Scandi is because it's got so much material, they can support a very shallow edge. This is probably the sharpest knife in my house. It is, I'm frighteningly sharp. Like, I don't like touching it. I use this because it will scare a pork loin, like a full pork loin, into pieces. You don't even have to actually cut it. Just hold it above it and the pork loin goes, ah! This sets its own angle. That's the thing about a Scandi, because when you put it down and it goes all the way from that point of origin to the apex, when you set it flat on a stone, if your stones are good and flat, it sets its own angle. So no, I don't do a convex on that. Now, that's a Scandi, which is a cousin to a 0, which goes all the way. Now, this wasn't a 0. I made it a 0. It goes all the way up. Now, I did put a secondary bevel on this because I had chipped it and I just hadn't taken the time to get back around to doing it. This is a cold steel Scottish spike. But it's supposed to be a 0. I'm using an example because it's the closest thing I got. It has a small micro convex at the very tip that I put on it because it had a chip in it. It fell out of its sheath. But either one of those knives you could do fucking surgery with. You know what? Somebody told me that, but the flip side of that is, if you, here in California, if you don't put up a beware of dog sign and somebody comes to your house, your dog bites them, now you're liable. You've got to put up a beware of dog sign. So either way you look at it, you're kind of screwed. If you do not give them, in this litigious American, North American fucking culture that we live in, where everybody wants to sue everybody, basically you're fucked. The nice thing is, California, which most people don't realize it, we have the castle law. If you come in my house, I can shoot you. I don't have to give you a warning. I don't have to try and detain you. I can shoot you dead as a fucking hammer. I have had numerous signs. My father had them on the farm before he passed away, and I brought some of them back, and they're in a storage unit in on base. One of them said, "Fuck the dog, beware of owner." The other was like, "You could worry about the dog, but this house is guarded by Smith & Wesson." We had some signs that said, "Trespassers will be persecuted, survivors will be prosecuted." And I had one that I basically, it's illegal to offend people. I had another one that they made me put away. Actually, I had 2 of them besides that one. I had a sign that said, "A gun lives here. If you would like to see what caliber, please open the door." And I had another one that I never even put up, which said, it said, fuck, I can't remember. It was a tin one that my dad had. It said had a picture of a gun. It says, "Don't worry about it, boys. There's nothing in here worth dying for." And I didn't even bother trying to put that one up. Oh, I had one that said, "Trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again." Those were on the farm. Those were along the fence rail. Like if you tried to come on our property. I had a bunch of them in the basement. We used to nail them up. In all honesty, though, this knife, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a $12 fucking knife, and if I had to pick a knife that was going to be the last knife that I ever had, like I'd be able to replace it, but I could only buy one more knife for the rest of my life, this would be the knife. This is the Mora Knife Companion. It's a $12 knife that does everything I would ever want a knife to do. I don't like either one. I don't like the green compound or the paste. I like the spray. I like the emulsion spray on the balsa wood straps. So, stop lying. Who said something about stop lying? What is that? Pizza Bandit. Stop lying about what? But no, like I was saying, $12 knife will do everything I would ever want it to do. It works well as a food prep knife. Like I said, I use it for when we buy large sides of meat, or my wife buys the big fillets of yeah, I get tree topping edges all the time, and it's not a problem. Oh, okay. I couldn't put two and two together on that one. This, like I said, this knife. Guys, I wish I could show you what just happened, but they all fell off my hand and they're on the workbench here. But basically there are beard hairs all over where that's just, and that's not touching, I'm not putting pressure on the skin. That's just touching hair at the, oh damn it, it's in my whiskey. Fuck. So you could, yeah, they're everywhere. So this is tree topping. You can take a hair and you can just split it right up the fucking middle with this thing. You can drop a hair across it and just pop it. And the thing is, like I said, they're not that expensive, and it's not this Scandi, what is it, the, what is it, what do they call it, their Swedish carbon steel. It's amazing. So I had a bunch of really expensive knives, and then I got this, and I was like, God damn it. Wouldn't that be the case? And the nice thing is, they're nice and thick. It's Sandvik, yeah, Sandvik steel. They are like, I'm trying to do it. I did it one day, but the Companion, the Mora Companion, it's got a larger handle and a fairly thicker blade. And the Robust is cool too. And the nice thing is, if you have two of them, there's a clip. The sheaths clip on it. They're as good as a lot of really expensive knives. I mean, oh, ripped it. I don't have a way to. And the other thing is, they strap up so easy. So, I have to say that this would be, as my young friend Ben said, this would be the GOAT. All the knives I've got that I have an attachment to, when it comes down to the actual function and use of. This is the GOAT, in my opinion. Greatest of all time. GOAT. And then this one, we brought this one out. This one is a little workhorse of a knife, and the thing is, they're like really easy to replace if something happens to them, you know? I dulled the fuck out of this and sharpened it on a goddamn car window. This is still the edge that came off the car window. Let's see. I sharpened this on the car window in that video months ago. Let's see what it looks like now. It gets used too. It's been used. Let's see. Is it gonna? It might not. It's still a kind of coarse edge. That's on a car window. So there's. Now I have to sharpen it though. No, it wasn't. It was not zero ground. It's a flat grind with a secondary bevel. I did not put that secondary bevel on there. It came with it. It's a full flat grind, yes, but not a zero. It was not a zero. It had a secondary bevel. A true zero does not have a secondary bevel. Yeah, it's for another sheath, clipping it in another sheath. The other thing, you can start on a 600 grit on a fucking Opnel. Ooh. I think I have packages here. Hang on, guys. Hey! Okay, what were you guys talking about while I was gone? Thought there was 0 grand. They're not. Now, there's a lot of people that do them as a zero, but I don't think it helps. Let's see what we got here. So this is from Steven. Geez, that's some hefty tape that you used, my friend. So I just... Hey, Bradley. Brad, are you still on here? Mr. Leffert? Your knife just showed up. Now, let's see what we got going on here. Probably gonna do these tomorrow. All we got here is, hey Mike, looking for a custom job on this pack, dealer's choice on anodizing, but my preference is non-bronze, the main color. Accents are fine though. Also included is the original clip that came with the Falcon. I'm not entirely in love with the deep carry clip I bought. If you could anodize the original clip and possibly bend it back into shape, I would appreciate it. Keep in touch, Steven. Sure. Depends on the steel. I don't know. Mass drop. Fair and Forge. Let's see here. Oh, this was purchased off of eBay. Let's see. Came with a deep carry pocket clip, which is not unattractive. All right. I think I know what I'm going to do to this. I have to, after we get done with this, let Steven know his stuff showed up. And Bradley, Brad, what did you send me? What's in there? I can't remember what you sent me. I've done a full convex. It's hard. I've resharpened knives that had a full convex. So, what do I do when I come across fakes? I have had people that sent me knives and did not realize they were fakes. Okay, Brad. You put some tape here. I still don't trust these boxes, even with the fact that you put some tape on it here, because, oh no, it got damaged. It got damaged. Oh, it got damaged in handling. I don't trust these boxes without being taped top and bottom and the ends. Let's see here. Is this a Kaiser? Did you fuck up a Kaiser? What's Steven say here? Kaiser, V3 Vigor, Vigor, S35 VN, re-stonewash and strop. Coffee and sharp things return to. Re-stonewash and sharp and strop. Let me take a look at it. Oh yeah. Let's see. All right, Brad. This one, when I take it apart, I'm gonna have to resharpen it after I refinish the blade, but we'll come up with an amicable thing, because there's just, I don't know if you're gonna be able to. I can definitely refinish that after I take the blade out, and I don't usually do regrinds. I will reprofile an edge, but I usually don't take a knife and then just regrind it. So that's the problem you're going to run into, is the fact that it's going to make it so difficult for you to try and resharpen it that it just makes more sense to let me sharpen it. I will, I got your phone number in here, so I'll get in touch with you. I'll get it figured out. I will try to do that. I gotta see if I can get the thumb studs off. Do you want me to blast? You're gonna lose all the markings on it anyway. Do you want me to blast it and refinish it, or just refinish it? Because what you'll get is, this is strictly a stonewash. My NTAC has a blasted and tumbled blade, and it's a little bit grayer, but it actually holds up to scratches a lot better. Well, isn't that handy? I don't even need a tool. You got thumbs like mine. Blast and wash. Okay, yeah, you're gonna lose. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna lose your blade markings. It'll be a little bit grayer, but I'll send you some pictures of it. It needs. You took it down pretty thin. It's not bad though. It's got a little bit of a misgrind, but I'll let you know what we're looking at. Is that a titanium pocket clip? Do you want a different color on a pocket clip? Might be able to do that for you. Just let me know. So, I have had a couple knives, 2 knives that I made that came out. The only reason that this isn't somewhere where my daughter can just have it right now is I got to think about making sure she knows how dangerous this is. This knife, there's only been a couple knives that I made that have been crazy. Put chrome polish on stone to wash media. there's different, there's some different tumblers I could use, some different media. There's a garnet tumble that we have. There's the stuff that comes out of the Bee Blast booth that's finer than, and it goes in with the stuff. But what I found is that the one that seems to hold up the best to abuse and wear is that blast, and then tumbled in the large triangular stones. I don't know what it is about it. It's the same way I do finish on just if you want a bare metal knife, it's the same thing I do with my 20 CV. Same thing I do with scales for. This is one I made for my daughter. It's got marble carbon fiber scales with mosaic pins. But what I was saying is, there's been a couple knives that I made that were fucking stupid sharp. This is one of them. I have to sit down with her and say, hey, you know what? You got to be careful with this. It is just about the perfect size, and the thing is, my daughter likes Star Wars, so she got a ghosted image of the Rebellion logo on the blade. And it's got a really nice sheath that goes with it. Look at those pins. No. But I didn't think about it when I put that choil in. I was like, oh, you know, it was a hiccup. I was trying to clean up something, and I went a little deeper than I thought. And then when I got it in my hand, I was like, hey. Now, it's pretty thin. Yes, I do use palm swells. I'm thinking about the handle. I'm going to. It's just I got to get the steel for it. So I want them to be a little bit thicker. I want the blade steel to be a little bit thicker, but not too much thicker. For this size knife, it was, I don't know yet. I've got a guy that wants one, and I think he said he was going to send me some steel for it. And I was like, okay, you send me the steel, but that's not, it really doesn't change the price, because right now I'm still not that well known. So basically, I don't, like, even if you send me the material, I'm still charging the price, because I'm charging for the labor. That's the only thing I'm charging for, like all the steel and everything. In the future, I think I'm going to be okay, because our friend Jeremy Morris bought the steel I'm using right now for the neck knives that I've made. And Vinny, you'll be happy to know, wait, what was that? It's too fast. Okay, so what steel am I going to use? I told you guys I'm not sure. I ordered Matsumoto KS chef's knife today, $390. I want to get it, but it might be the first knife's preferred grit level for a chef's knife. So chef's knives, Jovan, I have some pretty nice kitchen knives. The one that I use the most is about a $250 kitchen knife. It's signature level. I can't remember it's a really nice kitchen knife. At any rate, and I have a little bit less nice one that's a Japanese santoku style, because I do cook a lot. But I usually only take those like $2,000 or 2,000. No, it's a J.R. Heckles signature, I think. It's a pretty expensive fucking kitchen knife, because I like the handle design better than I like the shunt. That was the only reason. I'm pretty proud of this one. I'm pretty proud of this little knife. This actually was the first knife, or I'm sorry, second knife that I designed, and I just finally got around to finishing it. Because, you know, I had that combat utility knife in my brain, and I wanted to get it done, and I wanted to get it, and then I had a couple people order them, and so it was angles. So kitchen knives so often are really thin that you basically are able to have a really thin profile and then a small bevel, you know, about 20. I think somebody just said it, about 20 degrees. And I do. Okay. So this knife, let's see if I can get you in on it. This knife has a pretty polished looking edge. And it is only 1,000 grit on 440C, but then I stropped it. So if any of I've talked about this, for aesthetics, I strop everything down to 0.5 micron. So I have a pin here. Let me find a spot on this. So when you're, I'll do this here. When you're sharpening a knife, you put all these teeth on it, right, at the edge. But the other thing that happens is, so you have your blade, and you have your bevel, and those scratches go all the way down your bevel, like this, right? And they're V-shaped, just like these here, right? So you have all these V's. I'll put them back on here again. My pen's almost out of ink. So you have all these V's, right? And they reflect light in all these directions, and you get that cloudy look. Well, if you stop at like 1,000 grit, those channels, those grooves, those scratch patterns are still well pronounced. And what you do is I take my strops that have the diamond abrasive and I just basically polish, and I'm not taking out these scratches, and I'm not at any way obscuring these ones and rounding them over at the front because the abrasive on it still cuts. All I'm doing is I'm flattening out, so instead of it being these deep V's like that, and then those grooves go all the way down the steel, what you've done is you've kind of made a pattern that looks a lot like this down the blade across the bevel, and you haven't obscured the points where it cuts. What you have is you have less of a deep groove that can reflect so much, so it looks smoother across the top. So the channels aren't as deep, but they still go all the way down to the point, and now you still have a toothy edge that's polished, if that makes sense. Bradley, I'll send this to you. It'd be like artwork. Well, here's the thing. Go back up. Let's see. Jim Skelton started making knives, even though he's charging $475 and up for fixed blades. Seems like a bit crazy to me. Wes, I charge $400 for my fixed blades. I mean, mine are designed for a specific purpose. You know, there you go, Emerson Knives. They charge a mint for theirs, and they're horrible. It's all about establishing yourself. Jim is well known in the knife world. I am not. I do know what I would have wanted in a combat knife, and I don't even consider. Let me go get it. Hang on, I'll be right back. I don't even consider this truly a combat knife. I consider this a utility knife with some combat functionality. And there's my palm swell. So the finger choils on my V2s are a bit more pronounced, definitely more pronounced. And the blade doesn't have this up sweep. It comes down. Instead of sweeping up, it comes down, and it's broader. But this is my prototype. My proto. And I sold it to a guy. He still hasn't paid me. But, you know, I understand his situation. But Hindsight being 2020, I don't think any of the prototypes will be sold anymore. I think my daughter has returned home, perhaps. But who's worth 8 million? Well, hello from Canada. Hello back to Canada. So this was sent to someone. Then I had it for a little while. It's obvious they used it, which I'm fine with. That was the whole point. But I still have to resharpen it. I'm thinking it's going to have to hit a stone. I don't think. Yep, you don't give money by giving away. I've only been doing it for 2 years. And I get $400 for these. What's up, kiddo? So my family is home. Everything is good. I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Finishing those knives. Now we've been at this for an hour and some odd. I like him or not his name known for something like that. Here's the thing. Jim's knives are different than mine. I don't strop with green only for certain metals. The only metals that go on that green abrasive are VG10, D2, and N690. Sometimes S35VN, depends. 20CV doesn't go on that. That abrasive is not robust enough to do anything really to help out. I will do it every once in a while just to make sure I've knocked the burr off if I'm sharpening between stones. I'll hit it on that green, and it's not the green you're talking about. This is chromium oxide, as it's not diamond. So I use diamond for the final stropping, but if I'm doing 20 CV like this and I just came off a stone and I want to make sure I knock the burr all the way off, I do hit it on the leather with the chromium oxide just to knock the burr off. My wife just locked the cat in the car. Are they in the car? Are they in the car together? So my wife just locked the dog and the cat in the car together. Let's see how this plays out. YouTube's watching. They're not moving. Did the cat kill the dog? Because that would be the more... If you look at what Jim's doing, he's probably not charging enough. Jim is probably charging just what he needs to make his next batch of knives. In all honesty, I like Jim. He's a good enough guy, but in all honesty, he probably is only doing it as a hobby and just trying to just get enough out of it to pay for the next batch of steel. Because I know what kind of work goes into making a knife. Yes, I'm sharpening this thing. And it's hard to say. I mean, I'm sure he's making a small profit enough to, but Jim also works other places. But that's the other thing too. His knives are artsy looking, and I guarantee he's putting a lot more into the fit and finish, but he has what's the biggest, let's go back here. What is the biggest cost of making a knife, steel or man hours? Well, I got enough steel to make 62 knives and water jet for around $700. And then I did double disc grind, and that cost me another $5. So I would have to say, I don't think it's materials. I think it's just the time and getting a way to pay for that time and have it to where it covers not just enough money to make the next batch of knives. But the fact that if you're doing it to make a living, which is why my sharpening service is my primary venture, it really is, because one, I love it. And then the knives is a hobby where I can still make money. I mean, like right now, hobbies cost money, right? Well, I have to buy a brace of belts, because right now Chris and Elliot don't have any, because they have nothing planned to until the con comes out, so they're not gonna have to. They're not sweating belts. I had to buy my own, and it takes several belts per knife to make a knife, and they cost anywhere between $6 and $12 a piece. So you figure it's not necessarily the steel. You can spend almost as much in abrasives as you do in anything else. I've been lucky enough that they have abrasive belts that I can use. Well, they don't have any right now, so I've got to get started on some stuff. It means I got to buy some. It's just the way it works. The nice thing is that the sharpening service has picked up quite a bit lately. It's still not where I want it, but you know, hey, it's a business. It has its ups and downs. So, you know, man, 20 CV takes a stupid sharp edge. So 83 minutes. I think we probably should stop this. I'm sure there's some of you guys that have other things to do. Full flat grind. Good rant videos planned? I don't know. Depends on if somebody sends me something stupid. Okay, so diamond spray that I use. For you guys that have asked that a couple times, I use the Hand American, it's called Hand American or Hand America 10 karat spray. And there's a chance that this prototype might come up for auction. I need the money. I can't, as much as I like this knife, it's just, I don't need it. You know what I mean? So I have a buddy that has said a bunch of times he wants it. I can always make him another one out of the batch of the version 2s. But this Chimerica, it's a thing. Man, 20 CV. My buddy Danny just told me he's watching me right now. I think he's Danny, are you on here? Chime in, Danny. Like I said, this is not a combat knife. This is a knife. This is a knife that had thought put into it as opposed to the big K-bars and things like that were huge and unwieldy. And then you'd have to have a small folding knife to deal with day-to-day tasks. This, exactly, utility, combat. Because I can reach up on this. I can get down here. I can do small work. I have that big ramp right there where I can get a hold of here. And I can get up on the tip. And it's still got a flat on it where you can put it in a fixtured system if you need to. Somebody has the tech to grind an edge on a typical kitchen. Wait, what is this? Somebody has the tech to grind on a typical kitchen. Why do they not invest a little bit more to make a great edge on a premium knife? I don't know yet. This one is going to be more, this one would have to go for about 4 because of the carbon fiber is not easy to work with. And the guy that, when I was coming up with this prototype, he said he wanted it. I said $400 and I'm not charging you for the carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is a nightmare. Apparently I have something to throw away. My wife just came out and dropped something on the ground. So this one would be around 400. I just have to get with the guy and find out for sure. kitchen knives, putting a good edge on a kitchen knife. I can do production companies. Here's how it works. For a production company, they will take a knife and they'll produce it, and then they don't. Yeah, I mean, the abrasives are expensive. I just told you they're like $6 to $10 a belt, and you figure you can only grind. Yeah, that for sharpening a knife has to be done on a belt. You can only do a couple knives per belt, so you figure for them it doesn't make any sense to do that. So they just basically do a 220 grit edge, and then if they were gonna have to pay someone like me, fuck, $35 a knife, 25, depending on what it is, depending on the grit. Small knife companies, you guys think of Microtech as being huge. Microtech is a small company. Microtech is a small company. I actually applied for a job at Microtech, professional knife sharpener, $60,000 a year. I was going to do it. Never get a call back. Apparently, you got to have more qualifications than I've got to be a professional knife sharpener. I made, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I made $3,000+ last month. Just sharpening knives. That was not anything else. That was $3,000 just sharpening knives and doing anodizing and refinishing. That still does not go back to what I was making out here in California. That's nothing. You know, my daughter spends $1,000 a month ice skating. I'm working on this business. My wife and I had the fucking come to Jesus on it the other day. That I'm probably gonna have to do some other things to make up for what I'm not making. Today was a good day. Sharpened a lot of knives. Nail her feet to the floor. I mean, my daughter? So, ice time is expensive. Blades are expensive. It's not cheap to live. Exactly right. It's not cheap to live anywhere anymore. So, I mean, I'm working my way up that, trying to get to where I need to be, but I just couldn't do that job anymore. Elliot Williamson has said it. My wife has even said it. I was miserable to be around. Like they were gonna tell me like, look, just don't come to the shop anymore, and I could. The problem is, I would have nothing else in Houston. Here she has access to world-class coaches. The Olympic Training Center is here. So much stuff here. I can't take it from them. I can't. Here's the thing. Like, here we go. You remember my last one where I was talking about my father, and I was like, you know, always be proud of how far you've come, but never be satisfied. My family wants to stay here. And as a father and husband, it is my responsibility to make sure that they can do that. And that's how I grew up. My wife works because she chooses to. It helps pay for the ice skating and things like that, but the fact is that in my mind, it is my responsibility to make sure that if my family wants to stay here, that's what they have to do. That's what I have to do that. And that just means that if I have to work harder, if I have to work more than one job, if I gotta work more than 2 jobs. Right now I'm making knives, sharpening knives, and I drive Lyft occasionally. I haven't had much time for it lately, but that's the thing. That's what they want to do. My daughter has told me several times that it wasn't a question. She told me she's going to the Olympics. It wasn't, hey, do you think I can go? Hey, what do I need to do? She just looked at me and was like, Daddy, I'm going to the Olympics. And I was like, great, I gotta find somebody to pay for that shit. So that's how I grew up. That's your responsibility. Fuck it, you just gotta work. Fire breaks out downtown high-rise apartment. You know the reason I've got whiskey to drink? How's Christmas present? My dad did what he could. How much have I had? A glass or so. Not near as much as I had on Friday when I gave you all the stagnation speech, because I had to stick around the shop for a while and I did some other stuff and cleaned up because I got a little intoxicated Friday night at the shop. Danny, you need to come up to the shop some Friday. Yes, you do. So, we talked about the giveaway. Here's my thing. This one, and I know that there's some people out there that don't like me talking about it. This is going to be a giveaway to patrons only for my Patreon. That's what this one's going to be. And this is not a bad little knife. No blade play. Blocks up nice. It's got a little bit, but it's an automatic. I'm going to sharpen it. I may refinish it, but it already looks pretty good on its own. It's got a gold anodizing on the aluminum. But the other one, the giveaway that I was mentioning in the beginning, that's going to be the cool one. How is her as a guy? Her athleticism. So I have a 10-year-old daughter that has an 8-pack and she can outskate most girls that are older than her. And she does jump rope, wearing leg weights and arm weights. She does P90X 3 days a week, just the ones that she needs, the plyometrics, the core, and the core. So she does core 3 days. Actually, she does core 3 days a week and the plyometrics once a week. She's on the ice. She was on the ice this morning at, I want to say she was there at 5:30. And that child, when you grab her arm, it feels like a fucking piece of steel pipe. There's no fat on that kid. It's all fucking muscle. She is a fucking rock. Frighteningly strong. And she just skates and skates and skates and skates. We were watching a movie about ice skaters the other day. She's like, why are those people sweating? I was like, well, they were out there skating on the ice. She's like, you shouldn't skate on the ice. You shouldn't sweat on the ice. I was like, during competition, you shouldn't sweat during competition. I was like, why? She's like, you sweat in practice. It's a movie. I was like, huh? Yeah, competition practice. So you don't. And I was like, that's not a normal child. So one of my proudest moments was, but I had told her a long time ago, if you think that you can't, you'll say that you can't. And if you've done both of those things, there's no chance that you ever will. And so I had told her that. I told her different things that my father told me, and I didn't take to heart until it was too late. But she has. And so there was a little girl that went out on the ice, and she fell down, and she sat down on the ice and started crying, and my daughter skated up to her and said something to her, and then she came off the ice a little bit later. I was like, hey, what did that little girl say to you? I was like, that's my daughter. What'd she say? She's like, oh, she told me, I said I couldn't do it. She says, don't say that, because if you say it, you're never going to be able to, and just skated away. Just keep going. Proudest moments. And then there was something I taught her about being brave. She was doing something at school, and it was something they had set up. Kids were climbing all over the big, she was like kindergarten. She's climbing all over the big playground stuff. And she like climbed all the way to the top, sitting at the top, and the teacher was like, weren't you scared? And the teacher told me later, he says, like, never had a kid verbalize this. And she's like, I'm scared, but if you don't do it just because you're scared, it's like being brave isn't about not being scared. Being brave is being scared and doing it anyway. And the teacher was like, she said that to me. She's like, yeah, I was scared, but I was being brave, because being brave isn't about not being scared. Being brave is about being scared and doing it anyway. And the teacher was like, where did she get that? And I was like, oh yeah, I told her that. I told her that a bunch of times. It's only 20 of us on here. It's been 96 minutes, and I have gotten absolutely nothing done. Well, I mean, I got a lot done today, but I think it's about time. It sounds like military. Sounds like her daddy was in the military. Well, I'm not telling her to do something that's stupid. I was like, hey, if you're afraid you're going to get hurt, you should do it anyway. I didn't say that. Because I got news for you. If you hang out with somebody that's not scared, that motherfucker will get you hurt. Because they're crazy. don't know, guys. It's fucking 96 minutes. You want to keep going with this? I mean, no one's ever going to watch the rest of it. So let's see. What are we talking about? Like, nah, people are leaving. It's 21 people with 21 comments. Or 21 thumbs up. Okay, let me get... Danny, I'm going to text you in a little bit. Put this in your eye. I don't either. All I have to do is wait until supper is ready. Ooh, where are you going, Nico? Where are you guys going? What movie? So, Polar Weiss, where are you at 2 a.m.? So I'm thinking Edelweiss, Polar Weiss, Germany. Got my first mosquito. Oh, I was close. See how my brain works? I was close. I'm gonna smoke some weed a little bit and go to bed. Prototype, yeah, I will let you know. But here's the thing, Ken, you're on the list for a V2. Or is it that you just want the prototype? Because here's the thing, I haven't marked it yet. Because it's getting marked with number 1 and then my initials. So anyway, it's going to get a number 1, but it's not going to get a year. So the one that you saw, the green one, I sent one that I forgot to mark. You want both? All right, we can do that. There in California, California is one of the most lax places when it comes, like you would think that their gun laws being so restrictive and over the top, that their knife laws would be the same, but they're not. Basically, as long as it's not a switchblade or a butterfly knife, and there's no limit on fixed blades at all. There's no limit on, now that's California. Each municipality has its own set of rules and things like that, so you know it just depends. But most places would be way outside of what you could carry. Not here in San Diego, not in California. As long as it's not a switch. San Diego is actually really loose on their knife laws. This one that I'm selling, a 3-inch blade, and it goes down inside your pocket. It doesn't have pocket clips, so it's what I like to call New York City friendly. And then the one I made for my daughter is... all of my knives have a general aesthetic to them. They're pretty much the same. Except this one doesn't have as many finger choils, and this one has... But, I mean, blade style and everything, I mean, they're kind of cousins. Neck knives, guys. Yeah, I do too. I love this. There's going to be more of these. I just have got to... Yes, Steve, there will be more. I have just got to find... I'm going to do a couple of them here and there, but they're going to be full customs. As opposed to... like, they're not going to be water jet and things like that's what I mean. They're not going to be water jet and things like that. What design were you trying to see if Ray can make? The version 2. So the Hornet version 2. This is the Hornet. So the V2's got a larger thing. So, ouch. I'll tell you what, Steve. We could probably make that happen. You get with me, Steve. You send me a text. I have not. Here's the thing. Now I'm giving them a chance because they've been really busy. So somebody just asked if Rake is going to make that knife. So let's see here. Steven Milk. So Ken said he's on that. What design were you trying to get for Rake to make? And it's not Rake. It's not Rake. It's Rake. So, um, let's see here. So what happened was I was supposed to meet them in Vegas, and that kind of fell through. They were too busy. I mean, I still went, but it was busy, and so I didn't get anything done. I didn't get all the way there. But so I wasn't able to meet with them, and I've been emailing them. Right now, it's Chinese New Year, so I don't know. I sent them an email. I was like, hey, you know, I hope SHOT Show went well for you guys, but the fact is, um, you know, I need to know what we're going to try and move forward on, because the thing is, I now know enough people that I could push different directions. I had thought that I would talk to Dave Deng at RIAT, because I talk to Dave occasionally. Amazing knife. I had thought about talking to them. The boys over at Fair and Forge, they know the guys at We. I could probably leverage that. And then, you know, there's some other people that I've talked to recently that make knives that I could maybe see about doing some stuff. And I don't know how I'm going to push forward on it. I really want to do it, but it's just, you know, I don't want to push too hard and burn that bridge, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? So somebody was asked about a 940. I would go with just a straight aluminum handled 940. Where are we at? Who said that they were going to get a... Neck knives are not allowed in Denmark? Well, then you would just have to carry the knife that I make in your pocket there, Simon. So, let's see. Somebody said something about a 940. I'm trying to find it. Oh, Raymond, 940. So if I was going to get a 940, a Benchmade 940 Osborne, I'm going to tell you right now, it would be the original aluminum, green aluminum with the purple backspacer, and that would be it. I love that knife. When I say that I like the Osborne 940, the Benchmade 940 Osborne, that's what I'm talking about. That's the one. I don't like any of the ones with... Hey guys, guess what? It's starting to get dark out here. Guess what I gotta do? There we go. That's the one I would go with, is the original aluminum handled 940. I got a light out here now. My Patreons paid for this. So have I showed you guys? I know that I was going to do a video just for the Patreon guys and thank them, but have you guys seen the actual... I mean, the walls are rolled up right now and the doors are open, but have you guys gotten to see the canopy and everything that I bought to with the last Patreon money I had? Check it out. Hang on. Gotta get you out of the tripod. So I bought... Don't mind the mess. I'm trying to rearrange things. There was a bunch of stuff back there at the back that I had to clean up. And I'm going to use the old canopy over there and possibly put up another light. But it's got 4 walls. 2 sets have got a door. That leads to the rest of the yard. And I've got to... Apparently I have trash to take out. But I put a light up. Hang on. Put a light up so that I can still work, even if it's dark. And then, you know, you guys all seen this, but that keeps this stuff out of the rain. I have the waiting area for customers. We had a TV out here, but it caught itself on fire. But yeah, I can roll these walls down simply by and then use the Velcro and attach them. And then I have a heater that is not out here right now, but it stays in the house. But yeah, so yeah, guys, there's been a whole lot of sharpening going on this workbench lately, if you can tell. Why do I carry a gun? Because a police officer's too heavy. One of the things my father always told me, my dad was a cop. He was a sheriff's deputy for 20 fucking years. That's another thing that we should talk about my father is the inspiration for what I did after I retired. So, because it's the end of the video, we're towards the end, and I'm starting to. I've had like 4 beers today, and then a couple glasses of scotch. So my dad told me one time, he says, "Boy, did you know that?" He's like, "Boy, I'm telling you right now, I was home on leave, and I was like, I had been in Japan, so you know, I had acclimated to that comfortable environment where there's no real crime, and I came home and I was reading this stuff, and I was like, well, how come the cops haven't?" He's like, "Boy, the cops don't carry that gun for your protection. That's for their fucking protection. They could give a shit less about you because they're there to, that gun is there to protect themselves." And I was like, okay. But back to my dad. So y'all know my dad passed away of cancer. My dad left high school and went to a mechanic school, and right out of high school and started as a diesel mechanic. And he worked as a diesel mechanic until he worked for 20 years for a company called Saunders, and then that got bought out by Ryder, and they had the big trucks. These were trucks that were leased out by companies. So he had the big, you know, the big Peterbilt and Mack trucks and things like that, and that was his job. He was a diesel mechanic, and he was one of the best around. Like, people from other places would be like, "Hey, take that truck down to Coshocton, Ohio, and let Barney take a look at it, because if he can't fix it, hey, nobody can." And then the shop, they ran into some financial stuff, and the shop was not closing down, but they were cutting people. And my dad was at 20 years as a diesel mechanic for, at that time, Ryder Leasing. And the day that he picked up his 20-year ring, and I still remember it, it was a black obsidian ring in white gold with a small diamond right in the middle of the obsidian square. They told him that that was his last day. That they had to let him go because they were letting go all of the people with seniority because they cost the company the most. And my dad, I did this in his eulogy that I wrote because I could not go to the funeral. My dad had the strongest willpower of any person I've ever met. Like, it didn't matter. If it was something he set his mind to, you were better off just agreeing with it, because it would make your life less miserable, because it was just going to happen. And so my dad was like, okay. There were job offers in other areas, but that's not, I couldn't afford to go. I flew home to see my dad. I don't do funerals. I flew home to see my father before he passed, so that my daughter could see her grandfather while he was still moderately healthy. So at any rate, I wrote a eulogy, and I put it in my father's eulogy that, so my father just decided, all right, I'll find a different job, and became a fucking cop. He went from being a fucking sheriff, or from being a mechanic, all right, what's available, and found a job and set his mind to it and allowed himself to he didn't mope, he didn't flip out. He's like, all right, I gotta figure something out. And he was on, you know, he was on unemployment for a while and stuff like that. But the whole point of it was, he didn't, oh, well, they fired me and this and that. No, he wasn't like most of the people in town that when their jobs got yanked out from under them, they were perfectly happy to not do anything else. He's like, all right, I gotta find something else. And became the head corrections officer for Coshocton County and an instructor for Tuscarawas and Muskingum counties. He taught, diesel mechanic, taught how to be a corrections officer at 2 other counties as an instructor. So that's where a lot of this, me setting my mind to something, my wife and I have talked about it. There's no, I basically have set my will on this, and I didn't realize. So Danny
Danny can kind of vouch for this. I was a weapons guy. I was a gunner's mate, crew serve weapons instructor, small arms instructor. I was a fucking gun guy, weapons guy. Loved it. I didn't work a day the entire time I was in the military. I got to go to work. I didn't have to go to work. I woke up every day and I got to go to work because it was a privilege and I enjoyed it. And so when you guys thank me for my service, it's not a joke when I tell you guys it was my pleasure, because it's not a joke. It was truly a pleasure. I enjoyed every fucking minute of my job while I was in the military. And then I got told that, you know, physically I couldn't do it anymore. You're being medically retired. And so I basically, that's when I found out that I was my father's son, because I didn't complain. I didn't bitch and holler. I found a job and I took everything that my father did, and without even thinking, I did the same fucking thing. I became the junior guy in a shop. Well, when I took a job with Lockheed Martin as a contractor, and I was in charge. I did physical security. Well, not physical security. I did counter surveillance, counter access control. I ran the range and I ran the armory for Lockheed Martin. And I did that before I ever even used up my leave. I was still on terminal leave. By the time I got a fucking job that was paying me $1,000, $1,500 a week, I was still getting paid by the Navy for the first 2 weeks that I worked for Lockheed Martin. And I was making $1,000 plus a week with Lockheed Martin. And I had retirement checks that were coming in. Or not retirements, paychecks that were still coming in. And they were still paying for my house. And it seemed like forever. And it was something that was just instinctive. And I sat down and I thought about it. And I called my dad and I was like, hey, do you remember when you lost your job at Ryder? And he goes, yeah. I was like, all those things that you did, I basically did the same thing. And I never called him. I never told him about it. And, you know, I said it in my eulogy. People were flipping out because I wasn't coming to the funeral. And there was a reason for it. One, why spend that time with family when I could spend that time with my father? So I took and I went home in August, September-ish, while my father was still relatively healthy, and he passed on Christmas Day. I could have went to a funeral, but how was that money better spent? And then people were like, oh, well, you only saw your father like 5 times in like 20 years. I was like, you know what though? The fact is that the fact that we only spent that short period of time together in that long of a period of time meant that, like, my sister got him all the time, and I'm jealous. But the fact is, the time I did spend with my father meant so much more because it was so few and far between. So those things were things that my father and I shared mentally that the rest of the world, the rest of my family would never understand. My rest of my family is like, oh, I can't believe you're not coming to the funeral. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. But me and my father, we were on the same fucking page. Fucking word for word. And I told him, I was like, I wish I hadn't wasted so much more time. And he was like, but the time we spent was so good that it stands like a bright light and all that other shit. So, once again, we have spent 116 minutes together. I've got to go in and see my family because that was the whole point of not going to the shop today, was so I could spend time with my family. So I love you guys. You all are great. There's fucking 20 people with me at 116 minutes. When I first started this YouTube channel, I didn't ever figure that this would be a thing. I figured I'd make a few videos. We're like 320 videos into this, live feeds and all that shit. I got Patreons. I got fucking people that send me things as gifts. It's amazing. And I love you guys, but I have got to go. So I will see you guys next time. I am closing this out later.